Okay, what's going on, everybody? We are here. We're live. I want to thank you all for joining me today. If you can see and hear me clearly, please drop a one in the live chat, and then we can get today's stream started. As I'm waiting for the ones to come into the live chat, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, because that is the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does is that it helps to make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get their notifications, and it also helps to push this video out through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, please do me a favor and yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button, as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button, so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms to your family and friends, and inform them on this news and information. And yes, that does help to give me a slight boost in the YouTube algorithm as well. And with the introduction out of the way, and I can see that you could all see and hear me clearly, let's get today's show started. Let's get the stream started because a very interesting video was released today. It was a snippet of an interview that Joe Biden did on NBC, where essentially he was asked to take accountability for the rhetoric that has come from himself and the DNC as it relates to the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, the failed assassination attempt. And of course, he's not taking any responsibility for that. And obviously, I wouldn't either, right? So that's not really surprising. It's not really surprising, in many cases like this, deny, right? That's the rule of the land, and we all know and understand that to be true. But what's interesting about it is that in this clip that we're going to go through very quickly, it's only about 2 minutes. He continues to, the word that I'm looking for is, he continues to use, what is it called? Not misinformation, not disinformation. He continues to partake in malinformation, right? He continues to malinform the people. Now, for me, I would just say he's lying, right? It's lying. But if we're going to be hyper technical, he's engaging in malinformation, which you take something that is technically true, but you're repurposing it, making it seem as if it's something that it actually isn't. You get what I'm saying? And he goes on repeating the same lies. Realistically, that's what they are, lies, in this interview, while being asked, don't you think you should take accountability for the things that you say that create this type of environment? He says, no, I'm not responsible for any of this kind of stuff, and then proceeds to lie, essentially. So let's get into it. I'm going to pull this clip up right now. And I just want to go through some of the lies that he's telling on Trump post-assassination attempt.
Let's talk about the conversation this has started, and it's really about language, what we say out loud and the consequences of those. You called your opponent an existential threat on a call a week ago. You said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. There's some dispute about the context, but I think you appreciate that.
I didn't say crosshairs. I was talking about focus on. Look, the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was, there was very little focus on Trump's agenda.
Yeah, the term was bullseye.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on him. Focus on what he's doing. Focus on his policies. Focus on the number of lies he told in the debate. Focus. I mean, there's a whole range of things that, look, I'm not.
I don't even know what he's talking about right now. He doesn't know what he's talking about right now either. He was asked a very, specific question concerning you using the term bullseye. Right, Dark Times? What? Exactly. What? You used the term bullseye on Trump. You'd think that was the right thing to say, at the time. Obviously this was pre-assassination attempt, and he's just kind of rambling and babbling and going on and on about nothing right now. I'm not really following what he's saying, but that's the norm when talking about Joe Biden and when you're listening to him speak. But get this here, right? Get this here. After he gets done fumbling and bumbling, he goes right back to the dangerous rhetoric it's amazing to me like how many people like have motorcycles around where my office is. It's just unbelievable. But anyways, after he gets done fumbling and bumbling, right, and rambling, money, exactly. After he gets done rambling, he defaults right back to the dangerous rhetoric, right? Lies as far as I'm concerned, but malinformation, you can say technically, he falls right back into it as a default. He goes right back into it. And we're going to get into that right now.
The guy that said, I want
We're going to wind it back just a little bit.
Focus on his policies, focus on the number of lies he told in the debate, there's a whole range of things that, look, I'm not the guy that said, I want to be a dictator on day one.
Here we go with the dictator stuff. We've heard this 1,000,001 times that Trump said he wants to be a dictator and that he's going to be a dictator. Everybody keeps repeating that he's going to be a dictator. This is something that can incite fanatic behavior. It's one thing to say it once. It's one thing to say it, a handful of times. It's another thing on top of referring to him constantly as the man with the small mustache, referring to his followers as how you spell it? Nazis, right? It's one thing when you start combining all these things together. You're saying he's a dictator. You're saying he's the man with the small mustache. You're saying he's going to create a civil war. You're saying that even if he loses the election, he has extremists in the Hill that are going to descend down and pew communities of color. You keep saying all of this stuff, and it's all rooted in malinformation, which is realistically a lie. Because here's what Donald Trump actually said. For once, let's actually listen to the dictator comment that he made. So let's get into it.
Under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight, you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
for?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
Oh, he said he was going to be a dictator on day one. Oh, man. Let's start from the beginning again. As I interrupted, I'll let it play out this time. It's only 44 seconds.
Under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight, you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
for?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border and I want to drill.
That's not retribution. I'm
gonna be, he keeps, we love this guy. He says, you're not gonna be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one. We're closing the border and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator.
So that sounds to me like you're going back to the policies when you were president.
Does it sound like he was seriously saying, I'm going to be a dictator day one, smashing his fist on the table and speaking as if he's going to start annihilating the competition, deleting everyone, creating a civil war, so on and so forth? He clearly was being facetious. He clearly was joking. And it is amazing how many people have taken that and ran with it as if it's the gospel truth. I shared this with the channel members when I was in Chicago during Father's Day, but I'll share this all with you all right now, right? I'll share this all with you all right now. And shout out to my man Saul for always coming through. He said, "Ooh, impressive. You got an office now? Big step up compared to a kitchen." Yeah, I've been in here. I've been in this office for a minute now, man. I've been out the kitchen. So I just, don't say, "Oh, check it out. I got an office now." You know what I'm saying? But I've been out the kitchen. Now it's time to go to another level where I can have an office away from so many people with motorcycles. It's just crazy. I can't do a live stream without motorcycle sounds going off. But anyways, now I lost my train of thought. Oh, I remember now. And the Joe Biden is kicking in, right? When I was in Chicago for Father's Day, and I was talking with my mom, and politics came up. All I said was, I don't like Biden. That was literally all I said. I don't like Biden, She went off. To say the least. And as she's going off, because I said I don't like Biden, she says to me this exact same thing. He's going to be a dictator. He says he's going to be a dictator. And I tried to tell my mom, I said, Mom, he was joking. Like, he was being facetious. Like, he wasn't being serious. Oh, yeah, that's what they all say. That's what they all say. And I was just mind blown at the fact that you could, it's working. It's working. It's clearly working. People are actually buying into this, and it's rooted in essentially a lie. Technically, he said that. Yes, realistically, you're lying when you say that he said he was going to be a dictator. And I want to play this other follow-up clip here too from Trump on Fox News, because even here, he actually responds to the dictator comment that then people are running with now. So let's get into this really quick.
You seem to issue a warning that if in the courts, and even the U.S. Supreme Court, if they didn't treat you fairly, that maybe there would be bedlam in the country. Use that word, bedlam in the country. And in the last 2 days, at the same time, in the last two speeches, President Biden is focusing his campaign on the threat to democracy and political violence. Take a listen.
I'll say what Donald Trump won't. Political violence is never, ever acceptable in the United States political system. Never, never, never.
All right, so to Robert's question, this is clearly a focus of the Biden campaign. So can you say tonight that political violence is never acceptable?
Well, of course that's right. And of course, I'm the one that had very little of it. Take a look at wars. Again, I didn't start. I wasn't involved in wars. We beat the hell out of ISIS. We won 100%. We brought our troops back home. Look at the violence that we've had. Look at the violence we have recently.
Right, but when you say bedlam, what do you mean?
I think you have bedlam. I think you look at Joe Biden, it's bedlam. You have a man who can't lead. You have a man who can't find his way off a stage after he makes a speech that lasts for about 2 minutes. No, I think bedlam is Joe Biden. I think that he's using this. This is just a political ploy. Trump is a dictator. He wants to be a dictator. You know, it's interesting. I did a show, Sean Hannity. Did you ever hear of him? He's a very nice man. And he said, essentially, you're not going to be a dictator, are you? Tell me. I think he was trying to give me a nicer question than maybe you guys would. He meant it very well. I said, I'm going to be a dictator for one day. We're going to do two things. The border, we're going to make it so tight you can't get in unless you come in legally. And the other is energy. We're going to drill, baby, drill. After that, I'm not going to be a dictator. After that, I'm not going to be a dictator. So
you weren't saying that if the
and the press picks it up. So I said, I'm going to be a dictator for one day. They cut it. They go, I'm going to be a dictator. But they cut the rest of the sentence. No, I am not going to be a dictator. I'm going to manage like we did. We were so successful that the country was coming together. It was actually coming together and coming together well. It was a beautiful thing to see. And we're going to do that again.
Hey, Sean Hannity.
So once again, he's very clear, or it's very clear and very obvious that the dictator comment was a joke. It was him being facetious. It is unbelievable how many people have motorcycles over here. You know, but anyways, so stupid and retarded. It's very obvious and very clear that he was being facetious concerning the dictator. So dumb. Concerning the dictator statement is very clear. Yet they keep running with the lie that he said he's going to be a dictator when he was clearly joking, when he was clearly playing around. And it's amazing how many people actually believe it. And even when you play these clips, people still don't want to hear it. People still don't want to hear it. Even the term bedlam that they were referring to just now, because they kept trying to bring it back. You said there was going to be bedlam. You said there was going to be bedlam. I went and looked it up afterwards. Well, number one is this. Bedlam just simply means, chaos in a nutshell, right? There's going to be chaos. And what he was stating, if you actually go look it up for yourself, right, is he was saying that if the courts are being weaponized to remove me from the ballot, you're going to create bedlam in the country, setting a new precedent where you can do this on a regular basis. And it's now normal to weaponize the justice system to remove people off the ballot that you don't like. He simply was saying there's going to be chaos. That's all. You're going to create a situation of chaos. But once again, they take any little thing that he states and run with it as gospel, saying, oh, there's going to be bedlam. Oh, I'm going to be a dictator, when it's not true. On no level is it true. Now let's get back to what Joe Biden has to say.
I'm not the guy that refused to accept the outcome of the election. I'm not the guy who said that won't accept the outcome of this election automatically. You can't only love your country when you win. And so the focus was on what he's saying, and I mean, the idea.
But have you taken a step back and done a little soul searching on things that you may have said that could incite people who are not balanced?
So basically, come on, bro. You know what I'm saying right now. Don't you want to take accountability a little bit? Don't you at least want to acknowledge that y'all been talking crazy on your side? Don't you want to at least admit that? Can you say it at least that much? And here's Biden's response.
Well, I don't think, look, how do you talk about the threat to democracy, which is real, when a president says things like he says? Do you just not say anything because it may incite somebody?
I'm not mad at that answer. I'm not mad at that answer if you left it there, because it's true. You can say what you want to say concerning your issues with people, situations, migrant crisis, whatever. It's all about how you're saying it and how you're choosing to articulate yourself. Now I want to make it up close too. He looks funny. Now he's pretending as if they don't constantly refer to him as a man with a little mustache. He's pretending as if they haven't constantly lied and said that he's going to create a civil war and people are going to get pew-pewed because of it. He's not acknowledging any of that. But once again, on the surface, if he just left it there, what he's saying is true. And I don't have any actual disagreement there. I can't be worried about the actions of other people being stupid if I'm telling what I feel is the truth about a particular situation. I'm not responsible for your stupidity. And that's facts. But then he follows up with the malinformation. Then he follows up with the lie.
Look, I've not engaged in that rhetoric.
Lies.
Now, my opponent is engaged in that rhetoric. He talks about there'll be a bloodbath if he loses.
Bloodbath. There's going to be a bloodbath. Once again, it's stuff like that. Dictator, bloodbath. You're the man with the small mustache. Your followers are NAZIs or NAZIS, however you spell it, right? All this stuff creates that type of environment, especially when you have it on Hyperloop, not on YouTube, not on Twitter Spaces, but on mainstream media outlets with people like Joy Reid that are supposed to be so educated and well-read and articulate, and they're actual journalists, but then they get on television to speak to millions of people and say stuff consistently that is not true, removing out of context things like dictator and bloodbath to make it seem something that it isn't. Like I stated in the last stream, the people who cry the most about misinformation, disinformation, malinformation, dangerous rhetoric are the ones who participate in it the most. And it's the folks that run with Biden. They participate in it the most. Let's take a listen, just like how we listened to the dictator comment. Let's take a moment to take a listen to what Trump actually said concerning there being a bloodbath. Let's listen to that.
The United Auto Workers, what they've done to their people.
Mirror wind it back just a little bit.
But if you look at the United Auto Workers, what they've done to their people is horrible. They want to do this all-electric nonsense where the cars don't go far, they cost too much, and they're all made in China. And the head of the United Auto Workers never probably shook hands with a Republican before. They're destroying. You know, Mexico has taken over a period of 30 years 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country. Think of it. Went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. Now, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories. A friend of mine, all he does is build car manufacturing plants. He's the biggest in the world.
He clearly was using bloodbath, metaphorically speaking, representing the automotive industry and the economy. It is very clear. It is very clear. And that's the point of today's stream, is just showing how it's amazing to me how I can pull information that's factual from anywhere, Fox News or Breitbart or whatever, and people will automatically dismiss the information that I put forth because it came from Fox News or Breitbart or, I don't know, Newsmax or Epoch Time. And they'll say, those are lies. It's fake news. It's lies. You believe them, while not having any actual counterfacts to highlight how this is a lie. Yet on video, you can clearly hear what he's saying. Clearly, it's on video. Whether you're talking about the Dictator comment or the bloodbath comment, it's as clear as day on video what he said. And these folks, right, Biden and them, will take something that he clearly said facetiously or metaphorically and will spin it to the greatest lie ever told as it pertains to someone being a dictator that's going to come pew pew everybody, particularly people of color, right? Gonna come pew pew everybody if he doesn't win. And even if he does win, he's still going to create a civil war where he can come and pew pew everybody. That's wild. Think about how wild that is. Like I said in closing, I really just wanted us to focus on that today. The Dictator comment and the bloodbath comment is a complete lie from the pit of the underworld, straight from the devil's mouth. It's a complete lie. And you saw it here, but people will deny the video evidence that I've played clear as day and will just say, oh, you're just on Trump's side. You just like Trump. You love Trump. That's all you have to say? That's all you can come back with. I tell you that 1 + 1 = 2, and your response is, I'm on Trump's side? That's wild. That's wild. But that's how real the, as people say, Trump derangement is. That's how clear it is. You tell people 1 + 1 = 2. I'm just showing you an obvious fact. And I even show you video evidence that 1 + 1 = 2. And the response is, you love Trump. Nah, bro, I'm just telling you that 1 + 1 = 2. And I'm giving you a video demonstration of how 1 + 1 = 2. And all you can respond with is stupid stuff. I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, it's very clear that some people live in an alternate reality, and they don't want to escape out of it. They want to stay and remain there. You know, they want to stay and remain there. Now let's finish out what Trump was saying here. There's only about like maybe 20 seconds left. I don't think he said much more, but let's finish this out.
In that rhetoric. Now, my opponent is engaged in that rhetoric. He talks about there'll be a bloodbath if he loses, talking about how he's going to forgive all the, actually, I guess, suspend the sentences of all those who were arrested and sentenced to go to jail because of what happened in the Capitol. I'm not out there making fun of, like, remember the picture of Donald Trump when Nancy Pelosi's husband was hit with a hammer, talking about, joking about it?
I don't even know what he's talking about anymore. I don't know. He's all over the place. I don't know what he's talking about anymore. I can hear another motorcycle coming right now. Amazing. Amazing. Listen, man, with all that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get out of here. I've proven my point. I rest my case. Motorcycles going crazy today, but they seem to go crazy every time I hit the live button and start talking on this microphone. But we're gonna shut it down for today, man. That does it for today's stream. That does it for today's show. Thank you to my man Saul for coming through as he always does. Thank you to my man Jay Bird for 28 months of service. I swear I hear another motorcycle coming. It's wild. And shout out to my man Mick 007, who says the left created an unsafe environment. They have created an unsafe environment, and they finally, because the environment that they have created is so unsafe, they finally issued RFK Jr. Secret Service. I meant to make a video on that. I'll probably still make. I'll most likely make the video tomorrow. I'm gonna make the video tomorrow. I don't think I'm gonna go live about it. I'm gonna go live tomorrow, but I think I'm just gonna make a pre-recorded video about the RFK Jr. thing. But just for all those of you who are watching it now, I'm sure most of you know already. The environment now is so unsafe, has become so unsafe that the Biden administration has finally granted RFK Jr. Secret Service protection after denying him that 5 times already, which is wild, especially given the history of his family, right? But anyways, that does it for today's show. I want to thank you all for joining me today. There are 400 some odd of you in the live stream right now. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. And there are about 45 of you watching on Twitter right now. I appreciate you for showing up on Twitter. Please make sure to migrate over to the actual YouTube channel, TD Media Group. Hit the subscribe button if you're watching on Twitter so you can participate in the live chat. Anyways, that does it for today's show. Thank you all for tuning in. I will catch you guys tomorrow evening at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Most likely 7:15. I'll see you guys later, man. Peace.